A prison camp in Germany, 1943. A British corporal sits at a wooden table. Before the war, he made shoes. Now he has no money, no freedom, and no idea when any of this ends. And he is writing a letter. He is ordering a watch. A Swiss luxury watch. Here's the strange part. It's not the order, it's the answer. The company says yes. The founder writes back to him personally. Your watch is on the way. And please, don't think about paying until the war is over. That company is Rolex. Today, the most famous watch on earth. About 1 million new watches a year, and still never enough. And the whole story hangs on one question. How does a watch men laughed at become the one thing everyone wants? Here's the secret. Hold on to it. Rolex never sold time. It sold proof. The proof runs through a name whispered on a London bus, a shop window full of fish, a swimmer alone in the freezing channel at night, a watch bolted to the outside of a submarine, thousands of letters into prison camps, and a will that gave the whole company away. This is the story of Rolex. Bavaria, 1881. A boy named Hans is born in a small brewing town. By 12, both his parents are dead. The relatives send him off to boarding school, and that's that. No inheritance coming, no family business waiting. What he gets instead is languages and a stubborn streak. At 24, he lands in London and starts a tiny company with his brother-in-law. It doesn't even make watches. It buys small Swiss movements, puts them in cases, and sells them. A nobody from nowhere in someone else's industry. So naturally, he bets everything on the one watch serious people laughed at. In 1905, a real man carries a pocket watch on a chain in a waistcoat. A watch on the wrist, jewelry for women. And the mockery had a point. Movements small enough for a wrist were bad clocks. Hans bets the other way. The pocket watch is furniture, the wrist is the future. But first, his little watch has to stop being a joke. So he sends it where nobody sends a wristwatch, to the observatories that certify ship's instruments. In 1910, for the first time ever, a wristwatch earns a precision certificate. His. A few years later, the great observatory at Kew rates one Class A, a grade built for marine chronometers. It just went to a watch smaller than a coin. The joke is now, officially, precise. It just doesn't have a name. Watches back then carried the shop's name, whoever sold them. Hans wants his own word on the dial. It has to be short, easy to say in any language, small enough to fit a dial the size of a coin. He makes lists, hundreds of names, none of them right. Then one day, the way he told it, he's riding on top of a horse-drawn bus through London, and a genie whispers in his ear, Rolex. It means nothing, nothing at all. And that's the trick. A word with no meaning can be filled with whatever you prove. He's about to get help filling it. The worst kind of help. A world war. In the trenches, nobody digs through a coat for a pocket watch while being shot at. Soldiers strap time to their wrists, and by the end of the war, the sneer is dead. The wristwatch came home, a man's watch. Hans should be celebrating. Instead, Britain, drowning in war debt, puts heavy taxes right on his business, luxury imports, and the gold and silver he cases watches in. London, the city that gave him his company and his name, has priced him out. In 1919, he packs up and moves to Geneva. So the most Swiss brand on earth? A British company chased out by the taxman. In Geneva, he goes after the watch's oldest enemy, water. A watch is a machine with doors, and dust and water walk right in. In 1926, Rolex seals the doors, a case that screws shut, tight as a shell. He calls it the oyster. One problem, nobody believes it. Waterproof is just a word on a poster, so the shops turn it into a show. They put the watch in aquariums, in the window, ticking away between the goldfish. People stop. People stare. And then comes the moment. A London typist named Mercedes Gleitz has just become the first English woman to swim the Channel. Days later, a hoaxer claims the same feat, so Mercedes announces she will swim it again, in colder water, to prove herself. Hans asks her to take something along. She swims through the night with an oyster on a ribbon around her neck. More than 10 hours in water cold enough to kill. They pull her out shaking, and the little watch is still keeping perfect time. Hans buys a whole page of the Daily Mail to tell the country. Every athlete on every billboard today, that playbook starts here with a frozen swimmer and a ticking oyster. The watch now resists water. It still has one weakness: you. Forget to wind it, and it dies quietly in the middle of your afternoon. In 1931, Rolex patents the Fix, a half-moon of metal that swings inside the case with every move of your arm, winding the spring while you live your life. They call it the Perpetual. Wear it, and it simply never stops. Nearly every automatic watch on Earth still runs on that idea. The machine now takes care of itself. And then the world stops taking care of anything. War, again. And in Geneva, the strangest letters in company history start to arrive. They come from behind barbed wire. British prisoners of war, writing from camps deep in Germany, asking to order a watch. Many had theirs taken when they were captured, and Hans Wilsdorf answers, any British prisoner can order a Rolex. Pay after the war. Thousands of watches go into the camps in Red Cross parcels, with his letters folded beside them. Which brings us back to our corporal, the shoemaker. His camp is called Stalag Luft 3. You might know it. It's the camp from the Great Escape. He ordered the chronograph model on purpose. It has a stopwatch. And a stopwatch can time exactly how long a guard takes to walk the wire. The watch arrived flawless, and it went to work. He kept it for the rest of his life. Decades later, that one watch with the founder's letters sold at auction for a small fortune. A luxury company extending credit into a prison camp. As marketing, genius. As a bet on who wins the war, quite a statement. After the war, the proofs go planetary. If a watch can survive a prison camp, try the bottom of the ocean. Not a swimming pool, the bottom. January 1960, a steel diving ship called the Trieste drops toward the Challenger Deep, the deepest place on Earth. Deeper than Everest is tall, turned upside down. Two men sit inside, and on the outside, bolted to the hull in the crushing dark, rides a Rolex, built for this one dive. Down there, the water presses with about 8 tons on every square inch. The Trieste touches the floor of the world and comes back up, and the watch is ticking. Dead on. The telegram to Geneva survives. Happy to announce your watch as precise at 11,000 meters as on the surface. There is nowhere left on Earth to prove anything. And that same year, the man who started it all runs out of time himself. Hans Wilsdorf dies in Geneva in 1960. You know how this story usually goes. The founder dies, the heirs fight, the investors circle, and the name ends up on a spreadsheet in someone else's empire. Except here, there are no heirs. His wife died years before him. There are no children, and there will never be a sale. Because Hans has already given the company away. 15 years earlier, quietly, he moved his shares into a foundation carrying his name, a charity in Geneva. When he dies, that foundation owns Rolex. All of it. No shareholders, no stock ticker. And under Swiss law, a foundation's purpose stands forever. So, Rolex cannot be bought by anyone. The profits go back into the watches or out the door to good causes. The most famous status symbol on Earth has no owner to make rich. That strange armor gets tested almost immediately. In 1969, Japan ships a watch with a quartz crystal instead of a spring. It is more accurate than anything Switzerland ever made, and soon it costs less than a nice dinner. Precision, the first proof Hans ever fought for, is suddenly worth $10. The Swiss industry doesn't wobble. It collapses.
2 of every 3 watchmaking jobs, gone. 1,000 companies, gone. And Rolex? Rolex has no shareholders to panic, no quarterly numbers to save. It holds. It keeps making the spring-driven machine and lets the machine change meaning. No longer the best way to know the time, but the crown you wear because of everything it survived. The wave that buried Swiss watchmaking is the same wave that set Rolex on top of it. Which leaves today's shop, where everything runs backwards. Rolex makes about 1 million watches a year, one every half a minute, day and night. 10 billion francs, roughly a third of the whole Swiss watch industry, more than the next several famous brands added together. And still, you often cannot simply walk in and buy the famous ones. There's a list. The list has a weight. And out on the used market, a scratched steel Rolex often costs more than the new one nobody will sell you. Paul Newman's own Daytona went to auction and brought almost $18 million for a used watch. Absurd. Until you remember what is actually for sale. Not a clock. Your phone is a better clock. What's for sale is the proof, the certificates, the fish tanks, the frozen swimmer, the prison camps, the bottom of the sea. Rolex never sold time. It sold proof. And the last proof is the strangest of all. The man who built the world's symbol of wealth made sure the wealth would never belong to anyone.
So that's the story. An orphan with no inheritance built the thing people hand down to their children. A watch men laughed at outlived the laughter, the war, the ocean, and the $10 chip that should have killed it. A 5-letter word that meant nothing now means it survived, and you can prove it. And somewhere in an archive, there's still a letter in the founder's own hand. Dear Corporal, your watch is on the way. Don't think about paying. Not until the war is over. One more thing. I'm Stick. I travel through time to bring you back the best stories. See you in the next one. Next time, the story of Adidas and Puma.